that'd be great.
Hi, Jurgen. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I am. And you?
Not better, to be fair. I'm isolated.
Oh, that's why like you lost weight.
No, I was exercising before that.
Okay.
Not being able to this week, unfortunately. It's been despite the double jab, it's taken quite a bit out of us. To be fair, I was quite surprised by it. But anyway, I digress. We've been speaking to a number of managers today, Jurgen. Obviously, we've been asking about the Newcastle takeover. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, and I suppose what kind of impact you think it might have on the competition as a whole, long term.
Yeah, I actually was waiting for some official statements about it, like from Richard Masters or somebody else. Because we all know there are obviously concerns about human rights issues. I think that's all clear that we all think the same there. So didn't happen in the first place, happening then. Still, that's the situation. What will it mean for football? That's few months ago, I think we had a massive issue. I would say the whole football world with 12 clubs or so trying to build a super league, and rightly so. Didn't happen, but this is kind of creating a super team, if you want. It's pretty much the same. Guaranteed spots in the Champions League, not in a few years' time, not immediately. All these kind of things. With all the how financial fair play is used nowadays, where nobody knows exactly is it still existing or not, stuff like this. So it's like it is. So everybody knows that. The Newcastle fans will love it, of course. But for the rest of it just means there's a new superpower in Newcastle. I cannot avoid that. Money cannot buy everything, but can over time. That will take time, but over time they will have. They have enough money to make a few wrong decisions, to make then the right decisions, and then they will be where they want to be. So that's how it is. I don't think that's to avoid in the long term, but that's the situation. Everybody knows that, and obviously the Premier League or Richard Masters thought, yeah, let's give it a go. I don't know it, but it's not the first time. It's just the third, as far as I know, the third club who's now owned by a country. So I'm not sure how many countries are still out there to have the financial power and the interest to do so, but this is how it is, and that's what everybody has to deal with.
For yourself, Jurgen, obviously we've got the situation regarding Fabinho and Alisson. What is their availability going to be for this weekend, or is it a case of them going straight to Madrid? What is the plan for them, and what frustration is there that there's not been a better solution to this?
Well, the problem with this answer is always that when somebody of you writes it, then it sounds like I'm if I use the word frustration, then oh my God, Klopp is frustrated about that. I'm not. I'm just. We have no chance, obviously. Somebody decided to give Brazil the opportunity to play last night, so like a few hours ago. Then somebody made a decision that we have to play on Saturday, 12:30. So it's all not in our hands. If we say something, then always the same people say the same stuff. Yeah, that's why you have a big squad. That's all clear, but you have a big squad not for issues you have with football associations, because they put in tournaments. It's not that, well, 5 players have to play there and 4 players have to play there, but then you have still a league game to play. So how you maybe know, Atletico is not playing at the weekend. Our next opponent in Champions League. So something like that would never happen here. And if it would happen, then it would be like, oh my God, how can they do it for them and stuff like this. So we know it for a while. We made our decision a while ago. We had to sort, obviously, quarantine issues and all these kind of things. And the decision we made is the boys will not be here. They will go directly to Madrid, wait there for us, be able to play, hopefully then, against Atletico. Will come slightly later back than us, 10 days over then, and then they can come back and are in our normal procedure again, and that's it.
And Trent and Diogo, they definitely available this weekend. And how long will it be before Thiago is available to you again?
Yes, Trent and Diogo are available. At least they were yesterday. So and Thiago, I don't know. Yeah, it still takes a little bit of time. That's a bit disappointing, but we know that as well for a few days now that it will not go that quick. And yeah, we have to wait.
Thanks, Jurgen. All the best.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Right, we'll go to Steve White, PLP for 2. You still unmute there, Steve. If you'd like to take yourself off the mute, and then we can hear your question.
Apologies. Hi there, Jurgen.
Hi.
Can I go back to the situation with the potential new player challenging at the top of the Premier League? Is it as straightforward as money, or are there other factors that can turn a club into one that can challenge at the top?
Of course, it's all much more important than money is obviously good decisions. It's always possible, will always be possible. It's just more difficult. It's not. I'm not concerned about that. I'd only described the situation. So it was before we won the Champions League 2 years ago or whenever it was, and there were already 2 countries involved in the tournament. So and with brilliant teams. So football is a wonderful game. You can still win football games even when the financial power of the opponent is much bigger than your own, whoever that will be. And that's not, honestly, I'm really not concerned. It's just, you all know it. It's just, you need our voices. Obviously, that's why you ask all the Premier League managers now, what do they say? But you know it already. It will not happen overnight. And Newcastle is not safe in the league now this year. So maybe I don't say that, but it's not 100% sure that they will stay in the league. That would slow down the process a little bit for sure. But we all know there are some people who the football knowledge is big enough. I think there will be a lot of changes in the next few years. Try with them, then do that, and all these kind of things. It's a massive project. Yeah, but it's football still, and so of course you can win football games against them in the future as well. But it's clear, and we all know it. In 5, 6, 7 years' time, Newcastle, if the owners are patient enough, is a new superpower or an old superpower because they were already really successful in the past. And the new owners of Newcastle would have obviously enough money to buy the whole league. So maybe they fancy that at one point, and then it opens up again. Same chances for everybody. We will see.
Will you have a Premier League game to win tomorrow against Watford?
Thank you for mentioning that.
But you are facing a team with a new manager. Were you surprised that they made a change? And
can you imagine? Be surprised that Watford makes a change? To be honest, so I respect all football teams. I respect Claudio Ranieri a lot, but it's really from my own situation as a football manager. It's really harsh how Watford is dealing with managers. To be honest, I don't understand that. So it's just like that. It's pretty much you learn the name of the new colleague and then he's already gone again. So that's pretty much how it is. And I don't like that, and I have to say that. But that doesn't mean I have no problem with Claudio at all. It's obviously the opposite. I like him a lot, and he's a really calm and relaxed guy. But how can you be surprised that Watford makes a change? They make that. I'm 6 years in the country. I don't know how many managers I faced already in the Watford dugout. But now it's Claudio, and yeah. I'm sorry, I stepped in your question, but it makes it more difficult. Obviously, it's we use more pictures and situations from Sampdoria Genoa now, obviously where Claudio coached the last time, and so we know about him. Obviously, we faced him a couple of times. I know him for a long time, and yeah, so we have to be flexible. Let me say like this, but. When we prepare an opponent, we always start with focusing really on us. And this time we have to do that even more so because we don't know a lot about the opponent, and we have to play our game. And there will be no excuses in the end. We will try to play a really good football game. And if we play really good, then we are difficult to play whoever is in the dugout, whoever is on the pitch from the other side. That's how it is, and that's what we try to do.
Okay, thanks, Steve. We'll go to Juliet for 1, and then to James from TalkSport for 1, then James from BBC Merseyside for 1. Juliet.
And Jurgen, just keeping on with Claudio Ranieri, he spoke this week about how his brain is forever young, and the fact that he loves being in football management, and he's going to be obviously the eldest Premier League manager, I think, again now after Roy Hodgson has gone, and he said that he can keep managing till he's 80. I know that you say you never, you don't see yourself managing as far down the line as they do at that age. But the fact that he says his brain is forever young, is your brain forever young?
I hope so. First and foremost, congratulations to Claudio that he's now 69, and I see myself here on the screen. He looks younger than me, so obviously he has quite a good genetic basis. And on the other side, that's all a decision. It's a personal decision, just how you do it. When you are lucky enough that you can make the decision, he had obviously, I don't know exactly, but more than 15 clubs, probably. Does anybody know the exact number? So definitely more clubs than I can ever have, because I'm now already 54. I'm not sure I can catch up in the next 15 years with him. And that's the situation. So yes, I hope very much so that I'm with 79, 89 still in the same shape, like at least like Claudio is now, or as I'm now. But we all don't know that. And so we have to use the time in our hands in the moment and not think too much about what will happen in 15 years' time.
Fantastic. James from TalkSport for one. See if you can answer the Claudio Ranieri question for us, James.
I think it's something like 21 clubs in 35 years. I think a lot of catching up to do.
That's what I said.
Jurgen, I wanted to ask you about the fact that you spent most of your analysis looking at Claudio at Sampdoria rather than necessarily Watford this season. What have you learned from that analysis, and how much impact do you think he'll have been able to have in the 10 or so days he's had at Watford?
Look, when you look at the last game against Leeds, when they lost, obviously Watford had a good idea about the game. So we all know Leeds playing man marking, and Watford tried to build up with football, having a wide formation, stuff like this. That's good. That's actually what you have to do. The only problem is when you lose the ball, then the opponent has more space for a counter-attack, stuff like this. That's what Leeds used, and that's why they won. And I heard, of course, not everything what Claudio said last week, I guess, but some pieces. And he said we have to close the spaces. We have to be more compact. That's how it is. And we have to use the speed we have in our squad. So do we know exactly which system they play? No, Sampdoria 4-4-2 probably. Watford started in a 4-3-3 in the season, but then 4-2-3-1, stuff like this. So we don't know that exactly, but yeah. When you come, it's 6 years ago that I came new in the club during the season, but what I try to do is giving some stability. So that's, of course, you have to you don't start with telling the players which about 20 different patterns offensively. You want to make them compact and defending well, and that's always the basis for winning a football game, and that's what we expect, obviously. And that's what we have to deal with. And in the end, if it's completely different, we have to deal with that. I don't have the crystal ball and cannot say what they do, definitely. So we have to guess a little bit, but with the things we know, we think we will be close at least to what will happen, and that's what we try to use.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. We go to James Mumford from BBC, and then Carl. Apologies for the hands up in the open section. We do have an embargo section, so I can't take every hand that's up. But James, followed by Carl.
Thanks, Matt. I make it 21 clubs, by the way.
So did James.
There
you go, yes.
I beg to be corrected.
You're affirming his information, so lovely. That's two sources.
Jurgen, I just wondered if I could ask you about some personnel in defence, please. Joe Gomez, clearly he's come back from a serious injury last season, but how is he progressing, and what does he need to do to get into the starting 11 more consistently?
Nothing special. He's in a top shape. He's really good. I know that Gareth from time to time reacts on the things that if a player's not playing regularly in the club, then he's not playing for the national team. Obviously, there's a special rule for Mr. Stones. But Joe didn't get call-up. Stuff like this would have helped him to have some games. I really think he's an absolutely exceptional centre-half, but very good for us in the moment. We have 5 exceptional centre-halves, and Nat Phillips is not making the squad most of the time because the numbers we can only involve, but he trains exceptional as well. Ibu and Joe do that as well. So Joey has nothing to do differently. It's just to continue working, and then Tybal everything will be fine 100%. We need the boys over the year. It's still early in the season, stuff like this. You need to get settled. You need to find rhythm. All these kind of things. Changing then every week makes not too much sense. It was always clear. Last year taught us, obviously, we need at least 4 center halves. But when they're then all healthy, then we get these questions. When we have only 3 and 2 of them are not healthy, then we have other questions. So that's how you build a squad, especially when you had the situation we had last year. So that's now not every week perfectly comfortable for the players, but it's a situation and deal really well with it. The boys know time will come for them, and the quality they have is outstanding. And so it's, for me, in the moment, a very, very good situation.
Okay, thank you. Just before I go to Carl Markham, if I could have hands up from the dailies again. I won't be able to take all of you, but I'll take the first 3 or 4 who shot their hand up. But Carl, to conclude the open section of the press conference.
Hi, Jurgen. Can I just clarify the quarantine situation with, you say Fab and Alisson are going to Spain, but then you're saying they're coming back slightly later. What's the rationale for that? You mean they're coming back slightly later after you're coming back?
They have to.
It's because they went
Thursday.
to Colombia, wasn't it?
Because the last game they played in a redlist country was Colombia. Don't ask me now exactly which day, but next Thursday or Wednesday to Thursday at midnight or 1 past midnight, then it's 10 days, and from that moment on they can come back. These are the rules in the moment. We cannot change that. And the thing is that if they would have, obviously they could have flown in to England with all the quarantine stuff. Then following up with that, that would have meant that they have to isolate from their families and stuff like this. And Ali has 3 kids. That's not a real, being already 12 days away with the national teams, then again 10 days in isolation, then 2 weeks here, the same rubbish again. So we need solutions for that, and they are still not there. It's for us, how I said, I know always when we mention these kind of things, then you all go for it and say, yeah, but why shall they be treated differently? Tell me now, people who get every 2 weeks for 3 weeks away from the family. It makes all no sense, but it's not in our hands. We get the information, try to find a solution, and take the solution. I don't think it happened a lot of times before that players are not available for federation reasons, because the federations, which is, by the way, the federation of the countries, but then go down to the clubs and stuff like this. It's like, okay, we ask only for a few hours. That would have made it a little bit more likely that they could have played, because bringing them for 12:30 is no chance to play. There's no chance for them. But if we would have played, for example, 7 o'clock or whatever, or then we would have probably tried it. And so it makes no sense. But neither Watford nor the Premier League was open to that thing, because obviously that's their understanding of fair competition. But it's how it is. How I said, we know it already for a while, and we dealt with it. And I explain it now to you, but it's not. We didn't make a decision yesterday. We made it a bit earlier, so we knew about it, and now we know how to deal with the situation. By the way, when we talk about federation, Curtis Jones came back injured from the U21s. So great, yeah. So that's not okay as well. But it's really difficult to get proper in contact with even with the English Federation, because they just do what they want. Didn't train, was not involved in the first game. They didn't do a scan or whatever. Then he played a few minutes in the second game. What was the opponent? Second U21 games? Andorra, great. Very important that he played there. Came back, slight injury, not available for tomorrow. So these are the situations we have to deal with. And that's why we have this massive squads and can just use players like machines. So you are not available, and we take you and stuff like this. I said it before, but when the federations don't start helping us, and I mean with them, all of them, whoever it is, the Premier League, the FA, they have to think about the game again, and not only about their own interests. And that's how it is in the moment. But we can talk about that. I'm 6 years here, and probably 7 years I talk about it, and it's just it's always to think, oh, why did we talk about it? Oh, it makes no sense. So because nobody obviously is listening, and that's it.
Thank you. I only asked about its quarantine status, but thank you for that. Just to clarify then, they'd effectively be doing their quarantine in Spain, so when they come back, it will be normal for them.
Spain and Brazil.
Exactly. Yeah. They had played the last game in Brazil, so they were fix me now on expected, but they say they had already 4 days there, not in a red list country. That's what counts, and then another 6 days in a not red list country. So then they can come back and start immediately with us. So even when they go from bubble to bubble to bubble, it's still 10 days, and that's fine. That's for us the solution now, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. Okay, we go to the embargo section. At the moment, only Paul Joyce I've added, and it's for tonight at 10:30 p.m.